Conference Board, and she joins me from New York. Dana, welcome to the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to start with those economic projections in terms of unemployment. And of course, we will learn a lot more tomorrow when we get the February jobs report. A jump like that in unemployment almost always means a recession. Is this the White House essentially conceding in these projections that it is expecting a recession?
Well, I don't really know what's on their minds, but certainly when we look at our own forecast, we do have an increase in the unemployment rate to around 4.4% by the end of this year, early next year. That is roughly 1 million jobs lost. But if you look at that, that's really not that bad compared to the 13.5% increase in unemployment we saw during the pandemic and the 10% increase we saw during the financial crisis. And certainly a growth rate of 2.5% for GDP, that's actually much stronger than what we're projecting. We're thinking GDP, certainly for this year, is probably going to be in the range of 0 to 1%. And over the longer term, probably close to 1.8% or so.
So gloomy, but relatively optimistic compared to other projections.
Yes.
Dana, the last time we got a Biden budget, I think it was before we really fully embraced and appreciated how high inflation would ultimately go, but also how sticky inflation would remain. Anything in this budget that stand out to you that will really help on the inflation front?
Well, certainly the fact that the budget calls for smaller deficits and debt over time. So, for example, the CBO's estimate of federal budget debt as a share of GDP in 10 years is 118%. The administration's budget is 110%. So that means that you have less spending somewhere, potentially more revenue, and that you have less debt. And so that means less of a drag on the economy, faster growth, and potentially some relief in inflation.
As we said, I'm not sure if you heard our conversation with Phil Mattingly, our chief White House correspondent. The plan from Biden has already been slammed as purely aspirational. I'm wondering, though, do you see parts of this plan that you believe are actually realistic?
Well, certainly every budget issued by either party is aspirational. That's what they'd like to do. But certainly there are many elements of it that are going to be used for negotiation. Certainly the fact that there's potentially an increase in the corporate tax rate from 21 to 28%, or even an increase in the buyback tax. But certainly that could be used as a negotiating point for avoiding a big fiscal cliff, if you will, or a really big jump for persons making under $400,000 in their tax rates in 2026. So many of the elements in here, are going to be used to negotiate with the other side upcoming.
I see. So to be clear, you're not necessarily expecting that Biden actually accomplishes this goal of quadrupling the buyback tax from 1% to 4%, but perhaps it can be a negotiating tool for other areas of the budget.
Absolutely.
Dana, before I let you go, I do want to talk about the jobs report tomorrow. Of course, all eyes on that key jobs report, especially after January's blockbuster numbers. What are you expecting?
Well, I would expect that we're probably not going to see another month of really outsized gains like that, like what we saw in January. It was really unusual, even given the recovery that we've seen, the rapid recovery that we've seen in employment. And so I would expect some of that to be given back. Maybe we even get, a small number and you just average it 2 months out. But certainly there's a lot of risk there. And certainly we're understanding, from our understanding, businesses are still hiring, especially businesses that have massive labor shortages, or they're holding on to their labor forces and they're hoarding labor. So there's still potential for a decent number, but potentially not as strong as what we saw, which was really outsized in January.
It really was. And before I let you go, and I only ask because the labor market is an area that I care about pretty closely, did unemployment claims today concern you at all? We know that they have been historically low and they've risen to levels we haven't seen in months, but is it still just noise, or is this sort of the first sign that things could be starting to take a downturn in terms of the labor market?
Well, it's hard to know. Usually I look at the 4-month moving average, which kind of smooths out the weekly gyrations. And so we need a few more weeks of data to see if this picks up. But we do know that there have been more announcements of layoffs. And so that's got to happen somewhere. And it's the first sign of it is going to be certainly in those jobless claims. But, jobless claims are still incredibly low, and so most people are still working and most companies are not laying off. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on these data to see which direction the labor market goes into.
Absolutely. All eyes on that report tomorrow morning. Dana Peterson, great to have you on the program today. Thank you.
Thank you.